This note was posted onto the door of a classroom in an unknown school in the South American country of El Salvador. It translates, "Students from 2nd and 5th grade won't have classes today. Their teacher was murdered." When you look at this photograph of Interstate 59 in Birmingham, Alabama from May 5th, 1979, what's the first thing you notice about it? Whatever it is, I bet your answer wasn't the hand sticking out of the trunk. Apparently the reporter followed the car for a further 30 minutes until police arrived. The victim, identified as 35-year-old Gary Collier, had been in the car for a total of 12 hours and was robbed of $350. The night before, he was kidnapped from outside of a bar and he was robbed before being put in the perpetrator's trunk. A reporter named Mark C. Winnie and his photographer, Jerry Ayers, were sent out after a Birmingham News editor, Garland Reeves, got a report from his radio about a brown car with a hand sticking out of the trunk. 27-year-old Joseph M. Fendley, his uncle, 49-year-old Wilbur, and 24-year-old Robin Green were arrested and charged with kidnapping. Picture yourself in 1850s Boston. Picture yourself as a black man who's escaped from being enslaved. You arrive in the city, hoping to start life anew as a free man. But then you see this flyer. It reads as follows. "Caution, colored people of Boston, one and all. You are hereby respectfully cautioned and advised to avoid conversing with the watchmen and police officers of Boston, for since the recent order of the mayor and aldermen, they are empowered to act as kidnappers and slave catchers, and they have already been actually employed in kidnapping, catching, and keeping slaves. Therefore, if you value your liberty and the welfare of the fugitives among you, shun them in every possible manner, as so many hounds on the track of the most unfortunate of your race. Keep a sharp lookout for kidnappers, and have top eyes open. April 24th, 1851. The fact that you could escape captivity from one enslaver, only to unexpectedly have your human rights violated by a seemingly unlimited amount of people, is just awful. And the sad thing is that a lot of slaves couldn't read, so they had no idea of the danger that could have awaited them. Reddit user Athenu joined the website on November 19, 2018. You can tell, just from glancing at her profile, that she's into all sorts of drugs, making posts on subreddits such as r/fentanyl, r/heroin, and r/opiates. On December 9, 2020, she made a post on the r/heroin subreddit, asking about purchasing some tar. "I'm getting some tar, and all I've ever had before is powder. I don't have any rigs, and I'm not a huge fan of boofing dope. I swear I don't feel it like I feel other drugs that are away. So any methods on how to make it snortable would be awesome. I already know how to make monkey water. I just really love the feeling of making up a line and snorting it and Edit, thanks for the 2020 veteran badge?" Over a week after making this post, her father logged onto her account and made this comment. "This is Athenu's father. Just got my daughter's phone back from the police today and going through it as a concerned parent. My daughter is dead. I found her. Heroin overdose. She died on the 16th of December, just 2 weeks shy of her 22nd birthday. The tar that she talked about getting in this thread arrived literally the day after she died. None of us in the family knew she was using. Spare your families the pain of your death and quit while you're ahead." Loretta Lynn is an American singer and songwriter from Butcher Hollow, Kentucky. She owns a ranch in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. The foreman of the ranch was named Wayne Spears, and he was very close with Loretta. On August 22, 2021, massive floods erupted in the area around Loretta's ranch. This was part of the 2021 floods that devastated Tennessee and, to a lesser extent, western Kentucky. 20 people were killed in the floods, and one of them was Wayne Spears. This picture of him was his last, taken as he held on for dear life against the flooding. Given the cross on the wall in this room, one would assume that it's part of a church, but you'd be wrong. This is Leipzig prison in what used to be East Germany. Between 1960 and 1978, 18 Nazi war criminals were executed in this very room. They were taken in here and then swiftly executed with a shot to the back of the head. After their executions, they were placed in unmarked graves. Their names have since been forgotten in history, and rightly so, but we should never forget their crimes. This next story is proof that awful police officers don't just exist in the USA, but also in Scotland. On July 5th, 2015, 25-year-old Lamara Bell was driving down the M9 motorway in Glasgow. She and her boyfriend were from the Falkirk area and were driving home after a camping trip at Loch Gurn in Stirlingshire in the Highlands of Scotland. Whilst driving, 28-year-old John Newell lost control of the car and went tumbling down an embankment near the town of Bannockburn. It took the Scottish police to finally get off their arses and check out the scene. John lay dead in the car, but Lamara had been alive since the crash happened 3 days prior. She was in Queen Elizabeth University Hospital for 4 days before dying of her injuries. Police Scotland later paid her family £1 million for compensation over their family member's death. Lamara and John leave behind 2 children. This is a picture of 18-year-old Mikita and 9-year-old Alyssa Parabianis, taken 1 day before they and their mother, 43-year-old Tatiana, were killed by Russian forces while they crossed a damaged bridge in Irpin on March 6, 2022, as they were trying to leave the Kiev region of Ukraine. The father of the family, Serhiy, found out his wife and 2 children had died when he saw a photo of them lying lifeless next to a Second World War memorial in the town. Mikita took the brunt of the shrapnel as he tried to protect his sister. This is 6-year-old Kingston Fraser, and unfortunately, he's known to the world as a murder victim. At 1 a.m. on May 18, 2017, his mother's car was stolen from a parking lot in Jackson, Mississippi, after she left Kingston in the car for 10 minutes to visit the local grocery store. It was stolen by 3 teenagers. When the car was found in Gluckstadt a few hours later, Kingston's body was in the back seat. He was shot to death. Byron McBride was the guy who killed Kingston, so he was sentenced to spend the rest of his life in prison. The other 2 were sentenced to 40 years. This picture is of Kingston's mother after finding out that her son was dead. This video was recorded in one of the worst regimes ever, North Korea. It shows a homeless, starving young woman being interviewed.
잠깐만요, 뭐야, 토끼 주려고? 아. 몇 살이라? 20살? 집에 없니? 근데 바깥에 자니? 뭘 먹고? 어? 굶어? 아버지 뭐 어디? 엄마.
2 months after this interview, she was found dead in a cornfield, probably trying to find corn to eat. Regardless of the problems that are going on in our lives, let's all at least just be grateful that we were not born in North Korea. Personally, I feel images and videos convey more emotions to people than words or anything else verbal. This photo was taken at a Ku Klux Klan rally in Gainesville, Georgia in 1992. A child of the Ku Klux Klan and a black state trooper meet up with each other. The toddler approached the trooper, who held his riot shield on the ground, and seeing his reflection, the boy reached for the shield. This picture shows innocence mixed with hatred, and it shows that the mindset of any sort of racial superiority, whether white supremacy or black supremacy, isn't something people are born with, it's learned within the communities people grow up in. This last photo shows two policemen in Colombia consoling each other after they failed to save a woman who leapt to her death with her 10-year-old son from a bridge.